Good day and welcome to everyone to another episode of the We Rush In podcast. I'm excited to have a Terrance M with me here today. He's with the Ice Warrior Tac Gear, Canadian police officer, entrepreneur, felt the missing part of our gear to do with wintertime and decided that to do something about it. Obviously, we live in the Canadian prairies and those could be nasty. So he decided, well, that's enough. I'm gonna sort out this problem. Nice to have you here today, Terrance.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Right on. If you can hear me all right here, just tell me a little bit about your history in policing, just sort of so we get an idea of your background and how you came to this realization.
Prior to policing, I got into corrections, 2 years of it working for the province. Really, that was my stepping stone to get into policing. I'm in my 14th year, and just before I start, I'm not going to use proper names or anything like that. It's my little disclaimer. My views, opinions, and my business are all my own. Don't represent my service, but I'm sure anyone can figure out who I work for. It is what it is. But these are all my opinions and my business, and just keeps them separate. So, like I said, 14th year of policing. It's been a great career so far. Just under 5 years in general patrol, and I'm in my 7th year with the TAC team.
All right, so right on. I guess why Ice Warrior Tac? Why Ice Warrior Tac Gear? What brought you to this realization?
Experience. The cold weather policing in the Canadian prairies is it's tough, especially for frontline officers. So I can remember back. Where we 2015 fall, surrounding a house. It's not too bad out, but the gun call, we're surrounding it. I've got the long gun with me, and we're out there for a few hours. And sun setting. I remember it was an evening shift, and as soon as that sun went down in the fall, it's like the dark side of the moon kind of creeps in here, and everything starts to get cold. It wasn't. We're not talking middle of winter, but you're not acclimated to that sort of weather just yet, right? So I remember, I was just holding it with my bare hands for a long time because it was manageable. Then after that, everything started to get cold, and then I went and got my gloves from the car just to hold that rifle, it was a shotgun at that time, and I just remember that sting on my fingers. So fast forward to another gun call in January, February of 2017. I'm with the TAC team already. We're going to a high-risk call, another gun call, and we're probably outside just getting set up. We're only outside for a couple minutes, and probably minus 35, right? And it doesn't take long for that cold steel of a rifle to get very cold. And I remember we weren't going to be outside for very long, so I'm wearing just thin shooting gloves. Holding my rifle, finger along the frame of the gun, and I tell you, it just felt like an ice block. My fingers were freezing so bad just after a few minutes, and I remember those two key points in my career, and just like there's got to be something better. And I've looked on the market, and it's just there's not anything that I found at that time that it could provide you the warmth of on your hands, as well as manage dexterity managing your firearms. It's just something like that I just couldn't find. So I thought to myself, what if there was a thin shooting glove that you could add heat to? So I started researching into that, and there wasn't really anything into that. I got excited. I like to explore creative ideas. I'm not a businessman by trade or anything like that, but a little bit of graphic design. I was doing that before this career. But anyways, so digging on the internet and looking for resources who to help me out, make connections, and start drawing up prototypes, getting ideas. And eventually, after a few months to a year of researching and making a contact in Winnipeg who had contacts overseas with factories, I had a prototype of a thin shooter's glove with actual wires and a battery in it. So pretty excited to have that. Tested it out. Didn't work. Not so much that the components didn't work, but it was still. I remember we were at the range, It's 0 degrees, not too bad, but at the range, everything's always 10 degrees colder, especially if it's the spring. Pump the heat on the glove to max, and it just, you know what, that wind was just cutting right through that glove. It's the heat output on that glove just couldn't fight off the cold. And I mean, it made for a nice driving glove, keeping my hands warm. So I thought, just, you know what, for all the time I invested into this project, I didn't want to stop there. So just kind of stripped the components. We increased the insulation into the glove, and then 2018 it was released. That was the birth of the Tac SCO1, which is I don't know if there's people out there who have this glove. You know, this was my first prototype glove, the Tac SCO1, thin shooter mitt, 70 grams of thinsulate insulation. It has a lot of good reviews. I used it for a couple of years. It definitely had its positives, and it definitely had its negatives. I ended up, once it broke in, it was for me, I could shoot with it, I could handle my gun, but it just didn't provide the warmth that I needed. So I ended up combining it with one of those, what are they called? Those those fanny pack kind of pouches that you stick your hands in that you see like quarterbacks wear.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
So I ended up combining that. I was able to get my hands into that. And like I said, it has its positives, it has its negatives. It's definitely a learning curve, an expensive learning curve. But I thought, you know what, it's for what it was worth. I definitely wanted to try a second kind of glove mitt out there. And if that didn't work, then, you know what, so be it. At least I could say I tried. 2020 now, summer 2020, start drawing up for what we know now, and what you know now is the Mammoth glove mitt combination. Start working on some prototypes for that. I start having a demo for the winter of 2020 to try back and forth with what works, what materials work. This was based off of my own experience of what worked and what didn't work with the Tac Gear, and what I want to see as a police officer, and plus the feedback from other officers, what they like to see, what they suggested as well. I also had some military contacts that provided me some feedback as well on what they liked, and they were testing it out, and they liked the glove. It was tested out in 2020, 2021. They provided their feedback, and from their feedback, I created the two Mammoths. So what we know is the cuff version, which is the Mammoth-L, and then the long version, which is the Mammoth-X. The cuff version of the Mammoth-L has the magnets and a glove that's not removable. The Mammoth-X has the removable inner glove and snap buttons, because the military doesn't like magnets for their compasses, and they wanted a removable glove. So they had the Mammoth-X and the Mammoth-L. This is this is what we have now, the Mammoth-L and the Mammoth-X. This is version 2. This is next year, but it's very similar into what we had. So that that was the story of the Mammoth, tested out in 2020, 2021 for a release of 2021 and 2022. Now, the downside was COVID hit in overseas, the world, but the factory that I was using it hit and had shut down for several months. So I didn't get these gloves for that winter. I got them in February 2nd of 2022. The feedback and the response was great. There was a lot of pre-orders. A lot of people were excited about it. And I only ordered 250 pairs of each, 500 total. And I sold over 200 in the late stages of winter, which for me, I feel it's a small business, and on an idea, it's pretty good. Worked with over the summer, making contacts, and so that I could sell the rest for this year. And pretty much sold for this year, 2022, 2023, sold most of my remainder of the stock, having left only like the unpopular sizes, like the not unpopular, the uncommon sizes of extra smalls and smalls. What's left in my inventory. So that's that takes me up to now. Like I said, it's a very good review. Lots of lots of high review ratings that I received, a lot of positive feedback. It's been tested out in the Arctic by the military. Nunavut is one of the places that I get a lot of orders for. Northern Quebec, all different places. Of course, the prairies all over Canada. I can say that it's been, like I said, it's a lot of positive feedback, and I'm excited for version 2. I myself use it a lot. Obviously,
yeah, for sure.
I wear what I make. I wouldn't wear something that I make myself. Tested as well. My shipsmate wear them, which is great feedback itself. When they first came out, definitely a lot of my teammates say, it's not a cheap glove. It's a specialty glove, so it comes with a specialty cost, like you would find in any sort of specialty store. But the coworkers put their own hard-earned money on buying them. When we really get our own clothing allowance, they could have gone to the retail store or specialty store we get our equipment from and bought, like the big brand names, but they chose to spend the money because they liked what they saw, which is a huge, shot in the arm, boost of confidence for me as the designer of the glove, that hey, they like my glove, they're wearing it, and they're putting money down on it as opposed to spending the money the service gives them. So that was a real compliment.
For sure. Yeah, no, I bet my friend up in Nunavut would love to try out a pair. He's been up there for a bit. He's got a little ways to go, so the winters are something else up there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Do you have what are the plans? Like, what do you have plans going forward with Ice Warrior, sorry?
Yeah, you know what? Like with this glove, there was a couple things that I would like to change. So version 2 of the Mammoth, minor things. It's just going to be a little bit wider. The mitt itself is going to be a little bit wider, just to reduce break-in period, because I know there was a bit of a break-in period as well. But once people got going, it worked really well. So that's one of the key changes to this next version. And then the Mammoth-L doesn't have a removable glove. The next version, it will have a removable glove, just like the Mammoth-X. So that's plan to increase my orders, start making more contacts with more police officers, units across Canada, and the States would be nice as well. That's what's in store for version 2. But of course, like it's everything comes with money, right? You know what? I'd love to dump a whole lot of money into this and spend every 10 hours a day working on this every day, but this is a side gig. I still have a full-time job that I have to commit to, and I'm growing slowly. I'm not able to take that risk of investing 6 digits into my company and spending every day on this, because it's like I said, I have a full-time job, and that pays the bills too. So
yeah, I got to worry about that for sure. I guess from the officer's safety standpoint and whatnot, this is kind of a leap forward, right? Like, I've even just done like a range day on a cold April, taking the carbines out of the trailer that had just been in there overnight, and it didn't take long, even with like your standard tack glove on, to feel that through the glove. So, I mean, we're expected to be out there as long as it takes. So this is definitely probably a step in the right direction as far as making guys comfortable while doing that. Right?
And I mean, with the Mammoth glove itself, it's that, and even the Tac SEO one, it's the balance between dexterity and warmth, right? Too much insulation for warmth, you lose dexterity, and whereas you want more dexterity, you're giving up the insulation on warmth. So that's where that's where I had to struggle between how much do I want to put in there. The glove itself, so if people are unfamiliar with it, the Mammoth glove, it's a mitt and flip mitt, so it's a mitt and glove combination. And I guess for those watching at home YouTube, so this is the Mammoth-X itself, and there's the mitt portion, but you flip it open, snap it back, thumb as well flips back too, and now you've got the glove exposed as well. So a couple pockets in there as well, the stick hot pockets, which is great. It's like I said, it's not something that I would if I designed it, I'm definitely wearing it because I'm out on the front lines as well. So I needed to work for myself as well. You know what? I'm the one with cold hands. I'm the one out there on the front lines. I need to make sure that this is, you know, it keeps my hands warm and that I can access my weapons and my weapon system. So that's where a lot of testing and came into. It's yeah, you know, in regards to shooting itself, like I said, you know, my shifts have it. A lot of people on my shift mates are very picky about their kit, so it's you know, I take that as a badge of honor that they're using it, which is it's great feedback itself, right? You know, we go to the range, try to go to the range when it's nice out. January is a bit of a challenge, but you know, we still have to train. But but that's the other thing is you know, we train wearing our gloves because that is what we need to do. We need to know what we're capable of. So definitely with my shift wearing their gloves, my glove, my Mammoth glove, definitely their feedback's important. They're using it, they're shooting with it. It's got the glove itself has that right amount of dexterity where you know, you can get your fingers past that trigger guard. There's guys who wear 2XLs, so even as thick as that, they can shoot their they can draw their pistol, they can shoot their pistol, manipulate their pistol, do reloads and all that sort of thing. And it, you know, pistol definitely has a smaller trigger guard than rifle. So what you can do with your pistol, you definitely can do with your rifle. And I mean, that's something that I've tested, I've done, and so have my shift mates, and then we go from there.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I think guys lack is the practice with gloves on, right? Like, I probably about 6 years ago, I started doing these pistol, everything. I didn't even, my old service, we had like a three lane range in the basement. Yep. So I'd be down there 4 a.m. when there's nothing coming in. We'd do drills and stuff, but I always wore the gloves because guys are training without them, and then more often than not, when we go to an actual call, what are we putting on when we're on our way? We're putting on our gloves. And now we're not used to the type of dexterity you get with gloves compared to bare hands. So and it's good to see sort of a change with winter, right? Because I don't know about police training elsewhere. I took my training through the RCMP, and we had basically one day where we put on like a run-of-the-mill winter glove and wore our parkas. And it was summer when we did it because they have to put you through it regardless. And it was sweaty and hot and gross. But trying to get your finger and do reloads and everything with like your standard Watson sort of winter leather glove was tricky, you know. You felt like you didn't have your hands to be used properly. Like it was, you manage because you're going to manage, right? But
and that's how they kind of
you're going to.
That's how they trained us. Was, you know, our service provided us you know, these thick Raber leather gloves, which, you know, there's they're all great for, like we say, you know, using for going to court, but you can't draw your pistol with them. You can't get your finger past the trigger guard. You just can't shoot with them. So, you know, what good are they? Hence kind of goes back to my problem of, you know, finding the right glove just didn't exist. We also got mitts, and the training was, you know, if you're in that officer safety encounter firearms where you have to draw out, you're ripping your gloves off and you're going for your firearm, right? So that was the kind of training that that we got. You know, some of the criticism I got, which it wasn't much, but there's always somebody who's criticized, which I understand. That's fine. You know what, I stand by my product, and let's debate, right? And I know some criticism and feedback I got was, you know, if they issued this to the General Patrol membership, and just to cover off, this wasn't coming from my service, but if they were to issue this to their service, their thought and their worry was that their member is going to be wearing just the mitt, and then they won't be able to, you know, what if they get into a use of force situation, they can't access their weapon system. My thought to that is, so I mean, the way I run my glove is I've always got it hooked to my vest. I have it staged in the glove format, which is flipped back. And I mean, you know, there's a number of scenarios, and I mean, there's probably more scenarios on top of what I'm going to say too, where you're going to have it. Not to say that this is the perfect system, but this has been working for me all along. I've got it staged in the glove format. If I'm going to a hot call, generally, and you know what, I used to do this with my thick parka too. So if I'm going into a house or say a domestic situation, generally I'm riding around with my thick parka. It's open, I can access my vest, that sort of thing. But if I think that we're going to get into a tussle, I'll take my jacket off before I go into that house, and I'm ready to go. Probably wearing my slash-proof gloves or my thin gloves, and then we'll assess the situation and go from there. So same with my gloves. If I'm going into a situation, I'm probably going to grab my shooting gloves first if I think I'm not going to be exposed to the cold for very long, and then I can always transition if I think that the situation is kind of de-escalated a bit. I can put my gloves on, but still in the glove format. Same with like. I realized that I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to be running with K9. I'm starting to throw my toque on, my balaclava on, and I'll grab my gloves in the glove format, access my rifle. I'm good to go. Where the mitt portion comes into play is definitely helps out on surrounding calls, and I've heard this from a number of people outside of my agency as well. Like this, they worked really great. What I do is if it's really cold, or you know, if I'm in the turret or something like that, or I'm the point guy with the rifle, and it's really cold, I can stick hot pockets in those dedicated pockets. And generally, the way I like to run it, I'll even flip the thumb back. But you know, like this is right now, if I'm holding my rifle on target for a long time, this is all I need right now. The other hand can be in the mitt. Really, I can shoot with it. I've got my primary weapon, which is my rifle, out, and go from there. Obviously, I can't do this forever. The core is going to get cold eventually if I'm standing around forever. But you know what? That's where swapping in, swapping out happens. And you know what? A lot of the time you just can't. It's easy to say we'll swap out when you get cold. Well, sometimes you can't. You just. Especially for, I would imagine our brothers up in the, police by themselves, single cars, your partner's on the 2-3 corner of the house while you're on the 1-4 waiting for backup, right? And that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Not to say that this is the end all be all glove, but you know what? It's my go-to, and it definitely has some good reviews to support it. So that's my thoughts on officer safety. It's just kind of like everyone's going to have their criticism, right? It's like I don't know what kind of vest you're running, but it's like the outer vest versus the inner vest, right? I know use of force doesn't like the outer vest because somebody grabs onto you and then, they ragdoll you, that sort of thing. My opinion, it comes down to how switched on of an officer you are, right? What's your officer safety awareness when you're going into a situation, And if somebody does grab onto me like that, how trained are you to get out of that? Like first things first, how close were you to get that? Not to say that ambushes can't happen, but what's your training? How are you reacting to get out of that situation? Same with the gloves. You put on the gloves, maybe the situation is calm and cool, and then all of a sudden like that, things could change. Well, what's your plan to switch that back or access your firearms, right? Maybe you're ripping that glove off, that sort of thing. Because at the end of the day, when you're wearing gloves, and I've talked to this with my coworkers, there just is no glove in -35 that's going to keep your fingers warm. You know what? And if you're going to wear a glove and you're going to freeze your fingers, what good are you in the field when you're freezing cold, right? You can't move. You're out of the game, right? So that's my opinion on that.
Yeah. Well, there really is no be-all, end-all product for anything, right? Like when I started my career, we had crappy old vests with no molly, crappy dress-style pants, things like that just weren't comfortable, right? Like the issue boots that we got, even the winter ones, they weren't warm. So everything evolves, right? Everything evolves, and I could think of lots of situations. So I worked on a traffic unit for 4 years. I don't know how many times I've stood on the side of the highway in a blizzard at a collision where just having the ability to cover my fingers with a mitt for a little bit while I'm just standing around would have been fantastic, right? I'm not in a position where I need to access my weapon most likely when I'm standing on the side of the highway, and it's blowing like crazy. So, I mean, there's no perfect solution, but this is certainly a step in the right direction, if you ask me.
And like I said, it comes down to your officer safety awareness. Are you are you going to like I said, you're standing around traffic, NBC, it's pretty low risk. Not to say that something can happen, but experience kind of helps you, and your gut instinct kind of helps you along the way, keeps you safe. But are you the guy that you're going to a hot call and you've got your hands in your pockets, or you're wearing mitts, or are you the guy that's, you're putting on the right tools for the job, and you're already, you've already cracked open you release the SLS on your holster, and you've got one hand on your firearm just to, get a lay of the land.
Because you're ready to go.
Exactly.
Yeah, so. For sure. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, such is technology. We're going to try and start this again, which is fine. I'm not too worried about things being seamless. Nope. This is just the reality of doing stuff remotely. So guys should be used to it by now with 2.5 years of COVID. So
another thought I was thinking about so just with opinions and officer safety and all that sort of thing too. Granted, maybe that was just one man's opinion. There's always, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I've had, my own firearms unit, they recommended my glove for their rifle operators, which is, again, that's in itself a huge boost of confidence. I have former officer safety members. They still play an active role with it, and they're on my shift. And they say, this is a good glove. They recommend it as well. So it's not just my own opinion. Definitely, I went ahead and for the product I created, did my research homework, and got the backing behind it. I think a lot of the stuff behind it too has been great, because a big like I said, I keep using shot in the arm, but this past summer there, I contacted a police agency and their TAC team and spoke with their supervisor, and I caught them right in time because they were just about to order a bunch of Swanee gloves for them. And I said, this is what I have. This is some pictures. And they said, well, send us over some gloves and we'll test them out. And then they eventually came back to me and they said, we're canceling our order of 40 pairs of Swanees and we're going with your gloves. How soon can you get them to me? So, I mean, just to say that you got a big brand name like Swanee out there, and you got big brands at 511, and agencies are for their TAC teams are choosing my glove, which is awesome. Such a good feeling that I can provide members and help members out that way.
Yeah, for sure. To have it come sort of from a frontline officer. I'm not to say that big companies don't canvass those people. I don't know anything about their R&D process at all. But I mean, if it comes from a guy who's been there and done it, and you took it upon yourself to, you saw a need and you took it upon yourself to try and remedy that. And that's where innovation comes from, right? We identify a problem and we try to fix it. If you feel like you can. So, I mean, I think good on you for trying. I've tried out the glove. I like it. It feels nice and warm. So I'm definitely going to be recommending it to guys, because there's, like you said, it's not for every situation, but no glove is. So, I mean, it's better than what we got for some of the situations that we'll need it for. Yeah. So I think it's a step in the right direction. I appreciate that. Sure.
And I mean, at the end of the day, if people don't like it because they're used to their system, so be it. It's just like a shoe. It's just like a shirt. Everybody has their own personal preference. So, do whatever they need to do to keep you safe and warm. So, but this is what I use. So,
100%. Yeah, for sure. Where can guys find you? Where can guys get their hands on this product? I'm sure there's going to be lots of guys interested.
So, I have my own website, Ice Warrior Tac Gear.com. If you can throw that link out there on your podcast. However, that's where I'm primarily doing a lot of my selling through. I know I've been contacted by a few agencies, and if if there's going to be some large orders involved, I'll send them a couple pairs to have a look at. Go from there, and we're not in stores or anything on my own store right now, but maybe one day we'll get there. But definitely, it's pounding the pavement, making contacts with people. Gonna try to do some trade shows this year if I can, and I feel pretty confident once people kind of get their feel of the glove that they'll like it as well. Right now, also running a Kickstarter campaign. For about, where we got here, 26 days left to go. If people are unfamiliar with Kickstarter, so Kickstarter.com is a great way. It's like GoFundMe. People can donate, but Kickstarter, I know, definitely focuses on the businesses of things, and it's great for small businesses when you have an idea. It's crowdfunding. People can donate. People will get rewards if they donate enough in regards to it, and if they meet their goal, then a lot of these projects will come to life, and that's what we're trying to do here. I'm trying to raise some funds, get some pre-orders.
Alrighty.
All right, we were talking about Kickstarter.
Yeah.
So like I said, on Kickstarter, great way for entrepreneurs to bring an idea to life through crowdfunding. That's what I'm trying out right now. So essentially, through my Kickstarter campaign, if you go to kickstarter.com, just in the search bar, just search Mammoth Mitt. It's going to come up there. You'll see my face there holding a couple mitts there. Watch the video, see what it's all about. Or, of course, you can go to my website as well, Ice Warrior Tac Gear, and click the link from that as well. That'll take you there. Basically, like I said, you can pledge an amount, or you can, essentially what you're doing is you can pledge a certain amount, and that'll get you a reward. Essentially, that reward is you're pre-ordering the glove or number of sets of gloves. Right now, this is the cheapest or the lowest price you're going to find right now to get these gloves on Kickstarter, because, right now I'm trying to create those incentives, and if I don't make my backing, I don't get the funds.
Right.
But essentially, every little bit helps. I'm still pushing to get these gloves made anyways for 2023, 24, regardless of that campaign, but it definitely helps get the exposure out there. So go to Kickstarter, support my campaign, the Mammoth version 2. The high-end tactical mitt glove out there. Like I said, it's the lowest price available right now where you're going to get it. Or shoot me an email. And, if you're local or something like that, maybe we can meet up and you can see them for yourself. But it's not something that I do very often. But,
No, for sure. And are you on social or anything like that? Social media
so
sites?
I'm on Instagram, Ice Warrior. Just find Ice Warrior Tac Gear. I believe it's Ice_Warrior_Tac_Gear. Just search Ice Warrior Tac Gear, you'll be fine it. And Facebook as well. LinkedIn as well. I'm on LinkedIn, and I also have a YouTube channel as well. Not too much content on there, but eventually we'll build that up.
Cool. Right on. All right. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on today, and I'll make sure to put links to all that stuff into the show notes there so people can find you. And
awesome.
Thanks again for coming on, and really appreciate it.
Thanks. Thanks for having me. This was great.
Take care. Be safe.
Thank you. You too.